Hey everyone, hope you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel is Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis update of commodities, work our way through the dollar yields, precious metals, and commodities and ETFs that I follow. If you need any help with anything, you can check out my website, finding-value.com. We are running a discount. It's 50% off the first month using the discount code August. And let's dive in here. I'll give you my financial opinions about what's going on in the markets in the short to medium term here. So we've got the DXY. We are at a support level. That's what the white line is. This white line going across is this guy that we've traded at multiple times through history. You can see hit points all through here, through here, through here, through here. So it's actually a pretty strong support level, and we're on top of that support level. Are we going to break to the downside or are we going to break to the upside? And I think that will ultimately be determined by the market conditions. The market conditions are inflation, disinflation, and where interest rates are going to go. And the DXY is a function or a derivative of, we'll call it monetary tightness in relationship to the other currencies' monetary tightness. So looking at the yields, we are up slightly today, but this still is not convincing to me that this is going to go higher. I think this still looks like it wants to roll over. A lot of the times what you see is large selling pressure, weeks or months that occur in these, and then you get weaker bounces, almost as if it's struggling to go higher. So what that means is the selling pressure on the 2-year is struggling to push yields higher. So to me, it looks like there's a possibility that we could fall in the short term. Then when you look out into the longer portion of the curve, it was very strong, and we got some stronger selling pressure here yesterday, or I should say Friday. We were up today, but again, it's not a convincing bounce. I do think that yields could potentially fall, and that setup is starting to trickle into the longer end. The selling, we'll say it, the buying pressure of bonds, the downward motion in yields. TYX is kind of in the same situation. You know, is this that pattern that we see? And I'll just kind of take this out. You know, is that the Batman pattern that we eventually see? I don't know. We'll have to find out. We'll have to wait and see if this pulls back further. If that pulls back and the whole yield curve drops, that generally means that the curve is uninverting, that fear might creep back into the market, and that gold and silver could potentially do well under those conditions if they come. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for a turning point. Now, this hasn't clearly broken out to the upside yet either. So you can kind of look here and say, yeah, we're kind of at that resistance. Are we going to break or are we going to bounce and come back down? How big is it going to be? And, you know, a lot of people aren't going to know the exact answer there. All we can do is kind of observe what is potentially going to happen. And are we at support resistance levels? And then you can kind of look and say, well, your drivers of inflation are slowing down, potentially, and that could pull back. But again, it gets harder as you get to turning points to know exactly when you're going to turn. So we're going to wait and monitor. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to wait and monitor and see where the yields go. TYX, TNX, the yield curve is uninverting. It is coming up, but yields are going up when it's uninverting. The 10-year is up less than the 30-year, and that's how this is going. So it's not going to necessarily be a tailwind behind precious metals when the yields go up. But there's going to be a point where yields go up, it kind of uninverts, and then I think yields will drop. And the curve will still uninvert while dropping. TLT bond prices were down today. These still look pretty garbagey, but again, we'll see if we get a bottom or something like that here sometime soon. But they have had some strong selling pressure the past week or two. Gold slightly lower. Again, we're above support, still looks good. And that's what makes me think that yields want to perhaps pull back to some degree. If yields pull back, we're going higher. If yields shoot higher, I think we're going to continue lower. So that's my take on it. We'll see what happens. Silver down more so today, down 2.18%, and we're back on that support level. That's where we're at right there. Platinum up a little bit today. We are moving sideways up $2. And again, I don't see a clear direction. It's not a clear bottoming pattern or anything. We do have some support kind of right where we're at. If you draw a line, I'm just looking horizontally. We do have a lot of support through here that we hit. Some underside hits as well. So we're at a support level, and we could see a move to the upside eventually. I think we still have some perhaps time to grind. XAU to gold ratio still looks good. You can see that we've got the large buying pressure day here and the small selling pressure back down. We are squeezing this ratio of gold and silver mining companies to gold and silver in this corner here. Are we going to break higher or are we going to break lower? Not a clear direction yet. So one to watch. I mean, this could be a bear flag. I mean, it's possible, but we'll have to wait and see. CRB index slightly lower. And to me, this looks like we could potentially head down a little bit because we've got stronger selling pressure, a weaker bounce, and we could end up somewhere down at some point down there. So short term, we could head a little bit lower. CRB to S&P 500, see, we've pulled on up, and this is a bearish engulfing. We could head a little bit lower in the short term. GDX right on support, along with GDXJ and SILJ. They're all the same thing. You could look at GDX and kind of say, well, they all look roughly the same. And that's why I only go over one usually. But yeah, we're just moving sideways with a lot of these ratios today, or I should say prices today. Crude oil, slightly lower, still looks okay. We're in an uptrend with momentum going to the upside. We'll see if that can continue. We do have a bearish engulfing pattern here that came about with a very large yield increase that day. And the bounce, it's okay. So we'll see what happens. Again, we're on top of a pattern. Still looks good. Support underneath us. Nat gas ripping it higher today, up 6%, breaking out of its little downtrend pattern to the upside. That still looks good to go higher. XOP, yeah, you know me, just drifting on up, grinding higher like we thought after that. This breakout here, I'll throw the breakout in there. There's your downtrend line break. And then you had support there and kind of just drifting on up to this next resistance level, which is the neckline of this shoulder, head, shoulder that's playing out. OIH down a little bit. Again, we're right at that resistance line. This is the resistance line here. Maybe it's going to do a retest, just go a little bit down further than that, and then rip it to the upside. Still looks fantastic from a longer-term perspective. Sprout Physical Uranium Trust. I don't even think this updated today. 18.22. And that's where we're at right now, right? Trying to break that 1815 level, so it's looking good. URA is up a little bit on the dailies, but right above support. And hopefully we can break out of this support region. We are sitting on top of a pattern. There's your pattern that we've broken out. And we're just at this little resistance line. Hopefully we can rip here. Generally speaking, hopefully what we can do is we do have a little bit of resistance coming through here. And that's really what we're running into, is that resistance line right there. If we can break through here, I think hopefully we can see a surge at some point. URNM also heading higher. I like seeing this buying pressure. We need to break through here, guys. We got a little bit of resistance right where we're at. If you look to the left, you can see we've got a lot of trading going through here. We got to break through that stickiness. URNJ just doing everything at a little bit more leverage. So it looks good. TAN also heading down a little bit. TAN's gotten a little bit of selling pressure here. I do have a small position in this, just kind of holding on to it, and we'll see where it goes. COPX, still going sideways. I think a lot of the diversified mining companies don't look too bad. Copper's still squeezing up. We'll look at copper in a little bit, but I still think this looks just fine. Lithium still on top of the pattern. Got a nice little hammer candlestick. Generally, that's a reversal candlestick to move higher. And we are sitting on top of the pattern here to go up. REMX, same thing. We're sitting right on support. I would expect that to go up, sitting on top of that trend line. The S&P 500, surprisingly up. Do we have more left in this tank to move higher? It's possible. We are in an uptrend, moving higher. We do have some selling pressure days through here, some bearish engulfings. That generally indicates that we could potentially turn over. So now we're kind of hitting statistics against statistics, the probability of candlestick versus the momentum of the up move. And that's what we have to slow down and turn if it's going to turn. NASDAQ also very similar to the S&P 500. We've seen a couple of these big selling pressure moves in here and not a real strong bounce. So is this momentum ending where we're about to turn over? Well, that's what we're going to see. I think it's going to turn over at some point, but emerging markets, we had a little bit stronger dollar. It's down a little bit. Again, still, I think this is strong to move higher over time based off the market conditions. XHB looking really strong, actually, surprisingly. And there we are moving higher here. It's a pretty strong day today with a strong closing. We'll see if we can get some momentum and break this little area here where we move on up. We'll see if we can do that tomorrow. MU also moving up. We came back to this trend line, and maybe we're getting a little bit of support there. So we're starting to move up a little bit. Looks good. Copper down slightly, but this still looks like we're coiling up for the price of copper. If copper breaks, I think COPX will break with it. So we're just seeing what the markets are going to do here. We're squeezing the tip of this thing. Iron ore up a little bit, 0.92%. I still think this is going to work its way on higher here. Over time, could we have one last little move down and do that? It's possible. That'll complete the kind of the three-wave move there, but we do have support coming underneath us too, so we've got support right underneath us. Nickel up a little bit, 0.9%, still looking fine. It's right above support. There we are with the support level, right above it. Aluminum down a little bit, just moving sideways above support. Again, I think everything looks okay. Just got to be patient and wait. That's the name of the game here, guys. Just to be patient. Is this a little like inverted head and shoulders? We'll find out. Baltic Dry Index heading higher today. Still looking all right to move higher, in my opinion. The squeeze, the false breakout, the move higher, and I think it'll work its way on up. We've got Newcastle Coal Futures basin out, and I think it's a good location to be looking at potential companies. We've got Bitcoin up slightly today, and Ethereum down slightly. We're still within their patterns, and we are about to find out which way this thing's going to break for Bitcoin and Ethereum. So that's what we've got for today, guys. Give me a thumb up for the content, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the website if you haven't already. Use that discount code August. And overall, I mean, things still look good. We're just waiting. And that's kind of the markets. A lot of the time, the markets, you're just sitting there waiting, twiddling thumbs. You get your buy points in there if you like your buy points and just sit on it. And that's what investing is all about. It's like fishing. You just sit until you wait until you get nibbles. And then you can go and see if you can bring something in, reel something in. So that's what we've got for today. We'll catch you tomorrow. This is Finding Value.